She claims she only thought it was a beating, not a murder. She sets up her defense early.
That he needed somebody to get hurt, but like not to get to that point, from my understanding, was not to get killed, but to maybe like, I don't know, if like rough up or beat up or whatever. You know, like I just ping ponged it from one person to another. So it's not like for certain, like I'm there, like, you know, I'm coming up with like a master plan of like what's gonna happen and this is how it's gonna happen. It's just Charlie feeding me things.
Then 60 seconds later, under direct questioning, she confirms the entire arrangement in a single breath.
Yes, you knew that he was going to pay you money to give to Sigfrido to take care of the problem. You knew that you were going to get a portion of that money for taking care of this problem for Charlie. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
This is one of the most shocking cases that we have ever covered. Thanks to the law enforcement agency for providing us the footage of this case. We are trying hard to improve, so your review about our video means a lot to us. Tallahassee, Florida, July 18th, 2014. A quiet morning in a quiet neighborhood. Sprinklers running, birds singing. Dan Markel had already done everything right that day. Dropped his 2 young sons at preschool. Hit the gym. Ran his errands. At 11 a.m., he pulled into his driveway. He never got out of the car.
What's the address of your emergency?
We heard a loud bang and a car pulled away from next door. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. The driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside, the car is running, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me.
A neighbor looked out her window. Dan Markel, still upright in the driver's seat. Glass everywhere. Blood on the windshield. Blood coating the headrest. Somewhere in the chain, the severity got lost. The ambulance took 19 minutes to arrive. 19 minutes. For a man with a bullet through his face, each one of those minutes was its own small eternity. Dan was rushed to hospital. He fought for 14 hours in intensive care. He didn't make it. Police arrived at a scene that told them almost nothing. No weapon, no DNA, no witnesses who had seen a face. Just shattered glass, blood, and one single thread. A silver Toyota Prius spotted leaving the scene. Calm, unhurried, as if the driver had simply finished an errand and was heading home for lunch. Within hours, even that lead had gone cold. So they did what every investigation does. They started with the people closest to him. They brought in Wendy Adelson, Dan's ex-wife. And what they found when they sat her down was a woman in genuine collapse.
He never hurt me physically, but he was emotionally abusive.
Okay.
And I didn't tell most people that, so all most people know is it just didn't work out. So other than my family, who saw the way he treated me, he told everyone around the community that I was mentally ill, because only a crazy person would leave him.
She wept. She cooperated. She had an alibi. But the divorce told its own story. Dan himself had called it a Pearl Harbor-style separation. And that wasn't poetry. That was a precise, clinical description of what had happened. While Dan was away on a work trip, Wendy had stripped their family home bare, leaving him nothing but a mattress and a stack of divorce papers. She changed their children's surnames, changed one of their middle names, a name given as a tribute to Dan's deceased relative. 672 days after Dan Markel was shot in his driveway, a Leon County judge signed an arrest warrant for a man named Sigfrido Garcia, 34 years old, from Miami, a man who had never once met Dan Markel in his life, which meant only one thing. He had been paid. Garcia hadn't worked alone. He and a man named Luis Rivera had made the drive to Tallahassee together. 2 men from Miami in a rented silver Prius, moving between motels, spending days watching Dan go about his life. From the preschool, to the gym, to the shops, and finally home. They knew his routine. They had been patient. They had been thorough. And then the name that connected everything surfaced. Catherine Magbanua. On the surface, the last person anyone would look at twice. But pull the threads, and what unravels is almost too strange to believe. Catherine had been in a romantic relationship with Charlie Adelson, the brother of Dan's ex-wife Wendy. And she also happened to be the mother of Sigfrido Garcia's children. She was the bridge. The single human connection between a wealthy South Florida family and 2 men who drove north with a gun, a plan, and a price agreed in advance. The question was, who gave the order? And that answer would take years to find.
Unlocked if y'all need anything.
All right, where are you gonna be?
I'm right in this, here, right in the middle.
Okay, I can get you over there.
Of course, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you much.
Okay. Morning. I guess you knew we were coming. You talked to Chris. Okay. This is.
Is this a camera?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing it for all of our safety. We don't want it to be alleged that we came in here talking to you, so from the beginning we're just recording this whole thing with you. So this came back from Chris yesterday. He's signed the bottom of it. If you just want to look at it and review it, we'll have you sign it as well.
Yeah, I think this is the one that like Tara just like
It's
went over.
yeah, it's the same thing, yeah. So if you just want to sign the bottom of it,
Okay.
the second page.
Today's the 10th or the 11th?
11th.
On the surface, this looks like a voluntary interview. Katie Magbanua agreed to come in. She signed a form. She even asked if she could get a rap. But the three people sitting across from her, an FBI agent, a homicide detective, and a state prosecutor, aren't here to have a conversation. They're here to finish one that started 10 years ago. And Katie, whether she knows it or not, is already behind.
Okay, so here's what I'll tell you. Obviously, things have changed, and we're here without your attorneys, but that's, you guys had the conversations, and we all talked as well. I kind of feel like it's best and easiest to just let you tell us how we got here.
That's the thing. That's like how I got to this point.
Well, start at the beginning. You know who we all are anyway,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Okay, well, I guess we can do that. So we got Pat Sanford with the FBI, Sherry Bennett's with TPD, and I'm Jason with the State Attorney's Office, which you and I have met a few times. And yeah, if letting you kind of tell us how we live here is the best way to start. And we'll ask questions, don't get me wrong, we will ask you stuff, but
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of, like, just with everything that's been happening and, like, obviously getting incarcerated, and then it's just, I've been, like, you know, like, with my guard up the whole time, and then, like, all of a sudden, it's like, I don't want to walk into this room, and then it's just, like, me just talk. Like, I know you
Let's
can't,
talk.
I can't, everything is...
Well, let's start it like this, okay? How did you meet Charlie? Let's start with that.
I would really dive in really quick. Yeah, way to break the ice, right? Just before, like, I know, like, you know, obviously, you know, I'm going through 2 trials and everything. Like, what would this be all public now? Like this, or just for protection?
Eventually, it will be. We're doing this because obviously, with the publicity of the trial and the amount of, you guys didn't do this, you guys talked to her before you turned the camera on. We're not gonna have, we don't want to have any of those games played. We would rather have everything, recorded and documented, so there isn't, you guys sat down with Katie and told her what she needed to tell you. No.
Okay.
We didn't do that.
Yeah,
So-
because like my attorneys are not even here, so this
Right.
is like...
right, exactly. So this is my first time sitting down and talk to you.
Yeah.
So we want everything, recorded. So there's no question about, like it did last time, people were making allegations that we fed people and things like that. We're on the up and up. This is not, this way it's been the whole
We're
time.
not here
We're not here
to
to trick you.
berate you,
Notice what the investigators do before asking a single substantive question. They tell her the camera is for her protection. They tell her nothing she says can make things worse. They tell her they just want her side of the story. Every one of these statements is technically true. None of them are said for her benefit. This is called building rapport, and it is the oldest trick in the interrogation playbook. Katie's been through 2 trials. She should know this, but she's still nodding along.
And those are obstacles we'll all overcome. We got to overcome them just like you do. I understand you testified and you said things, and we'll deal with it.
Okay.
We understand. And that's, Chris will sit down with you, I'm sure, and that will come, but just like you just did, You had a conversation. It was around Halloween. What's Lincoln Road?
That was in Lincoln Road. That's in South Beach. So there's like a Halloween like party where they block off like the whole section.
Block party kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like a bunch of like it's outside. You know, they always host that event. And I remember when in a parking lot or like it was like an outside parking lot, and that's the first time he's mentioned it. And mind you, this was 2013. This is like in the beginning, so I didn't think much of it. Like I just literally met him. Like this is one of probably an event that I can only pinpoint it because it was a specific, like a particular event. I'm sorry.
Understood. But you don't, specifically what he said, you don't remember. He just mentioned saying his sister was going through something.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's end of October, 1st of November of 2013. You were still working for Sophie Dental, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
I was fairly new in Sophie Dental.
Okay. So go from there.
From there, I don't know what happened or like in between, you know, we started hanging out more. I'm pretty sure every single time, like, you know, he'd either not mention about his sister, but maybe just like family issues, but like not specifically like it's always his sister or whatever. Like he never really went forth with that.
Okay.
So that was like towards the beginning, and I could just kind of remember, I know I spent New Year's with him, and then so like that's already like towards the end of 2013.
Okay.
And then what about after that? How did it progress from there?
Like I said, I don't know, like whenever he would mention anything about it, maybe every single time that we just, you know, like we'd hang out. I don't know specific dates, like I said, but all of that's been like a blur to me, so.
When you're saying he's mentioning it, is it like he mentioned his frustrations with it, or is he just kind of just talking?
Yeah, he's kind of just like talking, like, you know, like if we're hanging out watching TV, or like I can kind of tell, like, you know, his like if his mom is calling and he's, you know, like they're going through like family issues. He never really told me specifically anything, but you know, you kind of like get the phone and you walk away like, oh, that was my mom, like talking to me or whatever, like she's stressed out, my dad's stressed out, stuff like that. Nothing particular that I can remember.
Katie just handed them something significant, and she doesn't seem to realize it. She anchored the conspiracy to a specific night, a specific location, and a specific conversation. The investigators didn't give her that. She volunteered it. Watch how quickly the tone in the room changes after this moment. The questions get more precise. The leash gets shorter. They've been waiting for exactly this.
The envelope that was in the bag, what was it?
I never looked at it. He told me, do not touch it, do not open it. That he had, he would, as time went, like, you know, I think back about the things that he's saying, and then he's like, oh, like, I never keep money in my house. Like, why is he telling me that? Like, now in my head, I'm like, okay, is he telling me that so that he won't get robbed? Like, he won't turn around and he was, well, yeah, hindsight, like I'm saying, like, I figured this out later on. You know, he did have that safe in his house, but he'd always be like, oh, I don't keep money in that, or I never saw any, you know, like he's opened it before, but I've never like looked inside and see anything inside. When he on that paper, which I felt like that had all the information, and obviously I had given that to Sigfredo, but when I gave it to Sigfredo, like I never, like it was in my bag, and then I had told Sigfredo like, oh, like the paper's there, like, and he never showed it to me. He took it and then he left. Like,
and this would have been prior to the trip they made up in June.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he had given me that paper.
Did he? And that's fine.
Yeah.
Did Sigfredo ever tell you what was written on it?
No.
Okay.
And that's like the information that I wish I had, because that's why I was
fine.
so hesitant to even.
Don't make it up. Don't fill in a gap that you don't know the answer to.
Okay.
I just want to confirm one thing on this. So you told Charlie you would have it taken care of. So Charlie didn't know you were going to Sigfredo, but he probably assumed, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, but you didn't tell Sigfredo it's from Charlie, and you didn't tell Charlie you're going to Sigfredo. You just told him that you would have it taken care of.
Yes. Yeah,
So I make sure I understood what you were saying.
Yes.
So obviously you told him that you had someone that could do this, or he wouldn't just give it to you and say, hey, just, how did that progress?
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, through time, you know, he keeps telling me there's like something needed to get taken care of. Obviously, he's never said like, oh, that somebody needed to get killed or anything. He never said that.
Okay.
But it's like, okay, through time, he's like feeding to me, oh, this needs to be taken care of, this needs to be taken care of. And then one night that I had slept over there, he had put that in my purse. He's like, do not open it, Katie, like, do not touch it. Even when I put it inside in the envelope, like he's telling me things that he did, you know, like I used gloves, I didn't print it in my computer, like he's telling me, he's like forewarning me, like don't even think, like I guess.
This is where Katie's story starts to collapse under its own weight. She wants to present herself as a passive bystander, someone things just happen to. But passive bystanders don't carry sealed envelopes for murder plots. Passive bystanders don't relay instructions between a dentist and a hitman. And passive bystanders don't get paid when the job is done. The investigators let her keep talking, because every word she uses to minimize her role is also a word that confirms she had one.
So, obviously, you guys weren't financially stable.
Yeah.
Renting a car to drive to Tallahassee is
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I think it's, that Charlie has given me money, like, oh, like I probably told him, like, hey, I need some money so that, like, and I would always just say, like, these people or whatever, but now I'm thinking about it, like, he knew it was, you know, Sigfredo the whole time. So, yeah, probably, like, asking for, like, a
So
couple
Charlie
$100.
would give you all the money to pay for the rental car?
Yeah, like, he'd give it to me, and then I'd give it to Sigfredo, I guess, like, so that he can go about wherever he needed to go, but I didn't know about the Tallahassee, like even like meeting with
You
Tallahassee.
didn't know where they were going. You just knew
No.
that the problem that Charlie had, they were going to handle, and they needed money to deal with it.
Yes.
How did you know about that he needed a rental car? What did Sigfredo say to you about getting a rental car? How did you know it wasn't?
I mean, he doesn't. He has a
Miami. How did you know the problem wasn't in Miami then? How did you know he needed a rental car?
that he had to go travel somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know, like when I didn't know anything about like the Tallahassee thing, but I guess he had to go somewhere. It wasn't going to be local.
Okay, so did
Yeah, I
he come
just
to you
feel
and tell you,
weird.
I need money for this, and
Right. You say, I need money for a car. I need you to get money from.
then how did you know to go to Charlie and ask for the money that he needed? Is what he's trying to get.
Well, because from the whole thing with the paper. But he didn't tell me what was on it or whatever, but I figured like he needed to scope someplace out. So if he's going to go somewhere, then he needs a car
So here,
to do that.
alright. You're trying to answer for Garcia. Answer for you. Garcia came to you and asked for, did he come to you and ask for money? Did he come to you and say, hey, I need money? Hey, what Garcia was doing is totally different.
Yeah.
How did it go from you back to Charlie, back to Garcia? How did that?
I mean, I would assume that that's what Sigfredo told me. He's like telling me like, oh, I need money, like, to go scope this place out. So he needed like a vehicle.
Do you remember having conversations with Garcia about that type of stuff? That, hey, I need money for a rental car. Do you remember having those conversations with him?
That he needed money, yeah, for rental car, I guess so, yeah. And then I would just relay it back to like Charlie, like I need money so that they, yeah.
That's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Just how did you know that you needed money?
I know it sounds like such a simple thing, but it's like I guess I'm just
You're trying to go through
my
your
brain.
memory.
Because it could have been in Miami.
Here's something the investigators understand that Katie seems to have forgotten. They don't actually need her to confess. They already have phone records, financial records, testimony from Rivera, and years of wiretap calls. What they need from Katie is her own voice confirming the connections between those pieces. And right now, almost without noticing, she's giving it to them. Every time she says, I guess, or probably, or I assumed, that's an admission wearing a disclaimer as a costume.
Yeah.
How much money did you get from Charlie?
I never saw it. He
What was
put
it?
in the trunk. Okay.
Go through that whole thing. I don't care what day that was. Just tell me what that was.
Okay, the night that Charlie told me to come over to his house and that he was like frantic about everything, I was like, okay, whatever, I'll come over.
Okay.
That's when he had mentioned that about the accident, but I didn't know that Dan Markel got shot. Like, I didn't know about that. Like,
You knew it was
I don't
her.
think I didn't, not even him. I don't know if it was him that he was, I think so, I guess, but like never saying about like him getting shot or whatever. That's why that phone call of me knowing would have never occurred, because I wouldn't even know anything, and Charlie didn't say anything on the phone.
Well, obviously a phone call occurred because there's records of that, and you and Garcia talked.
Well, yeah, like of me
But
saying
you don't
that.
remember the specifics that Rivera said.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
fine, that's fine. We
Okay.
can work with that.
Before you went to Charlie's, you went and met with Sigfredo. When they got back to town that night, you went and met with Sigfredo. Then you went to Charlie's. Do you remember that?
I don't think I met with Sigfredo though. Like, it's the
You
had
talking
records
to
and I
him,
was talking to him.
You talked to him, and then you showed up right there when they were close to her house, and the records show you all. They went to was it Duffy's? Is that the sports bar they went to?
That was close by or
Yeah,
whatever.
right, close by.
I don't recall meeting up with Sigfredo. I do recall going to Charlie's house.
Because right after that, that's when you talked to Charlie and you drove up there to Charlie's house. It was right after you.
Because I know I left and we were like, Charlie was telling me to come over to his house.
Do you
At that
remember
time, he was
meeting
kind
with
of.
Sigfredo after we got back and telling you that it's taken care of or any of that? Like, do you remember meeting with him when he got back in town?
When he got back in town.
And I understand you don't know that they at this time that he killed him or shot him, but do you remember him meeting saying that this is handled? We handled this for your friend or anything?
After that, I don't know if he might have come. I don't know.
I'm just saying,
I'm
how
not
can
gonna
you
say
facilitate
that
a phone call with Charlie to get the money?
Well, obviously Charlie knew something happened. Therefore, when that happened, he was supposed to have like money like ready. Because he knew that he had to pay.
So that was the understanding once it was done that he was to pay right away.
Yeah, but I wasn't, like, I didn't know I'm going up there to go meet up with Charlie so that I could, to get that. Like, he doesn't want to say anything, obviously, on the phone.
Pause on this for a second. Katie is describing a man in full psychological collapse. Gun in hand, Xanax in his system, barely functional, on the exact night Dan Markel was murdered. And her explanation for why she went over there is that he seemed frantic and she thought she'd check in. The investigators don't challenge this. They don't need to. They just let her keep building the picture. A picture that, by the end of this room, will look a lot less like a coincidence.
So all these calls you're making is to try and find Sigfredo to give him this money. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where did you find him?
I think I was parked behind, I don't know how it came about, but like I just ended up like in the kind of like in the hallway of like the alleyway of Lewis's apartment, and he just like jumped inside the car out of nowhere. Like he
Lewis did?
No,
Sigfredo
did.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess he didn't want me to know that he was somewhere else, and clearly it was a Shrimp's house, and I couldn't find him or anything.
What made you go to the alleyway outside of Lewis's
I
apartment?
think he told me to go over there, or
So you got a hold of him on the phone and he told you to go meet him over there?
yeah, I just thought that I had to go over there.
What happened then?
So he goes, he gets in the car, I was like, hey, you got a package in the back, grabs it and goes. And then I left to go home because, I left to go home.
Did you ever see it at all?
No, I never saw the
Like in the
package.
package, you never, he just jumped out
No.
grabbed it out of the trunk?
Yeah.
And he didn't give you a third of that money?
He didn't give me money till like he came back like later on. I don't know if it was the same day, but like then he gave me money.
How much did he give you?
I didn't I don't know.
Came back
Let me
where?
ask you a random question. Was it stable?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came
So you don't know how much he gave you, is that what you said?
Huh?
You don't know how much he gave you?
No, he didn't.
What
I mean,
did it
I
look
didn't count. Like, I know it was, it was a couple stats, but it's like I didn't, like, not a specific number. And I'm not going to say, like, 30 because that's, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's a number that's, like, sticking out. And
that's what Rivera said.
What's the
Yeah.
stacks of what? Stacks of what exactly?
Stacks of, like, staple money.
But what were the bills? Do you remember the size of the bill?
How much? What kind of bills were they? $1 bills?
I think they were, like, hundreds and then maybe, like, hundreds and, like, 20, like, 20s, like.
Katie just casually mentioned that the murder money was wet, possibly washed, that it grew mold in her closet. She says she never counted it, never really looked at it. She's trying to sound attached. But think about what she's actually describing. A woman sitting alone in her apartment with a stack of damp, bundled cash that she knows came from a man who is now dead. And her response is to just put it in the closet and move on. The investigators don't react. They write it down. Detachment isn't innocence. It's a choice.
Because everything you're telling us is how you didn't know this, you weren't aware of this and that.
Because nothing was ever like for certain, and that's why I say it in that way. Like this whole thing, the whole time I'm not gonna put blame on anybody else or whatever, because I take accountable of like all of this, and that's why I've been fighting. I'm fighting the whole time too, is because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like if I was to have cooperated from the beginning, that destroys everything, even Sigfredo, even and I get it, and I get you guys. Everybody's already had this whole perception. I just want a chance to get home to my children. This is why I'm in the situation right now.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to tell you right now, is being totally honest is what can help you. But if you're holding back and trying to minimize your role in this, it's only going to hurt you. Okay? Does that make sense?
I understand that, but I'm not going to be, but it's to the point too that I'm like, I wasn't for certain with a lot of things. And that's why I'm not going to go.
I understand you're not certain what was going to happen. You're not certain how they were going to handle it or what the actual planning of any of it was, but it was an understanding. There was some kind of communication, some kind of conversations that happened where it was an understanding to you that Charlie was going to give you money and you were going to have Sigfredo take care of Charlie's problem. That was a certain understanding,
yes,
correct?
Yes.
I understand that you don't remember the exact words of how it was said, but that was an absolute, right?
Yes,
you knew that he was going to pay you money to give to Sigfredo to take care of the problem. You knew that you were going to get a portion of that money for taking care of this problem for Charlie. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what we're getting. We understand you won't remember exact words and exact conversations, but the actual context, that's what the context means. Is the actual conversation, the understanding of what is going to occur and how you're going to be compensated for taking care of that issue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's what we need to get to, is those conversations and how the planning of it and how it came about, and then how once it was taken care of, how the compensation happened and how they knew to compensate at that point.
This is the moment the investigators have been engineering for over an hour. They've softened her, validated her, and walked her through the story piece by piece until the only thing left is the conclusion. And now one of them says it out loud. You knew Charlie would pay you. You knew Sigfredo would handle it. You knew you'd get a portion. And Katie says yes. It sounds almost gentle. It isn't. That yes is the entire conspiracy charge in a single syllable. And she gave it freely.
Very much
because it's like at the end of the day, it's like of course, like I felt like, why didn't he just step up and say something?
I think he had a similar thought that you thought. You remember
but that's
about 20 minutes ago when you said
that
if I had come forward, it would have screwed everything up for him. I think he has a very similar thought that he would do the same for you.
He's protecting you,
maybe.
Only thing we can think.
So, and that's when in reality, the both of you are only protecting one person right now. And that was, well, at this point, that's changed. But Charlie was the only one.
Oh, he was the last person that we were protecting. Believe me, if it's just. Okay, like that's why I didn't understand why it took so long to like arrest him either. I was like, with all of this information and all, like it would.
If you would have talked to us, we would have arrested me. I tried to come to you.
But that like it never came off that way where it's like, oh, like she.
We knocked on your door, on your door. Why are you so scared of the FBI? Why are you so scared of the police?
Nobody ever said who they were. Like I looked out the window and you guys did not say who they were.
You saw them with badges on. You said on the phone those are police. The police are
I never said it. It was his friend that came around the block, and he told me that the FBI was in there. You guys, I swear, you guys never announced it.
You knew the FBI was talking to Sigfredo at the
Didn't
time,
you guys have a conversation on the phone? Didn't you guys hear my conversation on the phone with Sigfredo? If I would have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike already told you the FBI was talking to him.
The FBI was talking to him. And then even on the phone, he's like talking about like, oh, these people are talking to me about like Tallahassee or whatever.
And then we went to your lawyer. We went to Sigfredo's lawyer and tried to talk to him. And we wanted you to talk to us. You never would talk to us.
I was more than willing to talk, but just the way that every single time that it happened, it wasn't the way that it was. Like you guys said that they announced. You guys never announced to me. I did not know until Mike told me that I had asked him, and you guys were already over there. You guys came at the same time. So I'm trying to blow up his phone, trying to see like who is it that's like knocking, and you guys never announced it. My dog is like barking in the back.
Somebody knocks on your door, you call somebody to find out who it is? You call somebody
No, it's just the way they guys like.
They just knocked on the door.
Katie thinks she's just made a sympathetic admission. She kept quiet for her children's father, not for some wealthy dentist. But watch what the investigators do with it. They immediately reframe it. Both of you, they say, have only ever protected one person, and that person is Charlie. It's a surgical move. In one sentence, they've taken her explanation for loyalty and turned it into evidence of a cover-up. Katie doesn't have an answer for it, because there isn't one.
What's something that we miss, something we don't know about how this all came together? After the bump, after your meetings with Charlie, obviously we have the things that are on the phone calls that you've heard. Everybody's heard hundreds of times in this. Everybody in this room, I could say, has probably heard them hundreds of times. Obviously, we know that. Outside of that, you guys had outside conversations. Obviously, you're sweating it. You got police, FBI knocking on your doors. Mm-hmm. You have people getting arrested. Now your child's father is now arrested and charged with this. I know conversations happened. You guys said, okay, let's not talk on phones anymore. So conversations happened. You guys met in person, had conversations. What were those conversations like?
With Sigfredo?
With both. Sigfredo and with Charlie.
But really, everything was kind of like on the phone too, like not just separate, because obviously we were still talking on the phone. I wasn't under the impression. Charlie's always been the one who's been paranoid about it. Charlie and Sigfredo's paranoid about it. Apparently I'm the only one who was like okay with talking on the phone, because it wasn't really hiding anything. Like, yeah, like I knew about it, but I wasn't like saying, you know, like.
I'm talking about after the phone. Charlie calls you, tells you don't talk on your phones, our phones are tapped. You guys get off the phone. Sigfredo goes out and buys you and him burner phones. Okay? When that happens, you and Charlie have other conversations where you meet in person. Y'all have other conversations through WhatsApp. What are those conversations like?
With the WhatsApp, it's just where we were gonna like meet up.
That was your location to meet up. Okay,
yeah.
When you met up, what were those conversations like?
Okay, when we went to the Icon, that was the conversation about like the whole bump.
Okay.
And then that's what I told you, like I had seen his parents, but it wasn't to meet his parents. But I'm just, like I've never like even spoken to his mom or anything about any of this. Obviously my opinions on what everything now is different, and yeah, like she like knew everything, or like him and Charlie were always talking about it, because why else would you always walk away? But if you're gonna involve me in this, then why was he always walking away? Because he was like protecting his mom.
By this point in the interrogation, a pattern has emerged that the investigators are clearly aware of. Katie's memory functions almost perfectly for anything that might generate sympathy. Her children, her financial struggles, feeling manipulated. But the moment investigators ask about a specific conversation that might incriminate Charlie Adelson or confirm her own knowledge, her memory goes completely dark. This is not unusual, but it is telling. And the investigators, who have heard hundreds of versions of this, are not fooled.
I've been through, and I'm not a complainer. I don't want to complain like, oh my God, I've been through all of it. Yes, it's been hell in here, and I've had to put away a lot of things, and it's like, yeah, I suppress all of those feelings, and I want to help. Like, yes, I want an end to this whole situation, but there's a lot of questions that I really cannot answer, and it's from what I remember. You know, granted, if I go back in the dorm and I think back about all this conversation, things stick out. Obviously, I'm gonna have that legal call with Tara and Chris.
That's probably a better idea than writing it down.
Yeah, just call them when you think about it. Call your lawyers.
And tell them write this down for you.
Yeah.
Do something, document it.
Something to remember it.
Because obviously those calls are not recorded and nobody monitors that stuff.
And if from the beginning, I never felt, you know, like I was approached in a way where it's like I should have, you know, like this could have all happened. If I was in the beginning saying the same thing that I'm telling you now, you probably would have reacted the same way. Like, well, what were those conversations? Well, it's not sticking out to me because it was never anything. Why would I have to talk outside? Like I said, like everything was on the phone calls. Yeah, if he told me to meet or whatever, Charlie just says the same thing all over again of everything he's already probably said on the phone call. It was nothing
At what point
separate.
did anybody know that murder was supposed to happen?
And that's the part that I was telling Chris. I don't know when it transitioned from that to like me really finding out that this was, okay, it was a murder that was supposed to be done.
Okay.
So you don't know when that happened or how that happened?
Yeah, like when it transitioned from like, okay, that's what needs to be done. I don't know if I'm just like, it's hard obviously to be like, I'm involved in, you know, somebody passing away, somebody being murdered, and me facilitating all of this, but you know, like, yeah, I see the role that I played. I see me ping-ponging from both parties and stuff, and I see it. So
do you
yeah,
remember Charlie? Do you remember Charlie asking you that it needed to transition to that, like verbally? Was it? How did that occur? It went over the phone, was it? Or was it in person? How did Charlie present that to you?
I don't know. Like I said, like, this is like through time of him really like getting in my head and just telling that this needs to be done, but not like, oh, like he needs to be killed or whatever. So
Katie Magbanua walks out of this room having confirmed the envelope, the money, the arrangement, and her place at the center of it. She confirmed it slowly, reluctantly, and always with a qualifier. I guess I assumed, I think probably. But the investigators weren't collecting certainty. They were collecting architecture. And brick by brick, in just under 2 hours, Katie built them the foundation of a case against Charlie Adelson, whether she meant to or not. On July 29, 2022, Circuit Judge Robert Wheeler sentenced Catherine Magbanua to life in prison without the possibility of parole or probation for the first-degree murder of Dan Markel, a sentence that was mandatory upon a unanimous guilty verdict and left the judge with no discretion. On top of the life sentence, Magbanua received 2 additional 30-year terms for conspiracy to commit murder and solicitation to commit murder, both running consecutively, bringing her total exposure to life plus 60 years.